Jerez to Autodromo Internacional do Algarve, situated 30 minutes outside of Portimao, the Stock European Championship rounds out today's action from round 4 of the Finetwork FIM JuniorGP World Championship. It's been a season with two names at the top, Dani Munoz versus Eric Fernandez, with the latter taking victory last time out in Andalusia, but Munoz has a grip of the battle so far. As the stock class gets ready to do battle around the 4.68 kilometre roller coaster, who will take the spoils in the final race of the day? Then right, 6 left make up this incredible Portuguese circuit. The Algarve is an absolute stunning location for racing action here today. 5 races down, 1 more to go, and the Stock European Championship gets ready to do battle for round 4 of the calendar. I'm Liam Hodgins, and joining me alongside is the terribly terrific Chris Jordan. So I was trying to think of the best way to introduce you that time, but terribly terrific came right out. So
you're stretching now, mate.
I really am. Well, I'm stretching as big as you are now, mate.
Set yourself a high benchmark, but we can't always reach them.
No, I'm always usually
good to be alongside you here. It's another cracker of a day here in Portimao. Another great race in the Stock European Championship class awaits, and there's already drama before we've even had lights out, and we'll come to that soon. But a little update of the weather. Well, it's quite hot, as you can see on screen. Track conditions are quite hot as well. It's been fluctuating between 45 and 50 degrees the last couple of hours. We'll see how they are once lights out commences in about 15 minutes as we take a look at some of the riders spinning around on the siding lap, dropping down the hill. So yeah, big day here at Portimao, and a big day in the championship race as well, as our top 2 guys have, well, one has a lot of work to do.
Yes, he does. Eric Fernandez is the person you're on about there. Qualified in second, but Chris, as we have found out since the qualifying session was over yesterday, he has been dropped to the back of the grid. And why? Well, we'll tell you why right after the update on qualifying. But this is the highlights of what happened back in Jerez. Dino Iozzo waved to the camera, chasing his second podium of the year. But Dani Munoz was hoping to convert a 3-race winning streak at Jerez, but Eric Fernandez would battle hard throughout the Stock European Championship race in Jerez. So the top 2 led away. They managed to build up a gap over the rest of the field. It was Fernandez that took the lead into turn number 1. Dani Munoz fought back, but it was Fernandez that just kept it for now, as we had some riders falling off a little bit further back in the action. Dino Iozzo took 3rd after that moment there, but Fernandez once again retaliated on Munoz, but Munoz up the inside at the final corner, but he ran a little wide. Fernandez took the opportunity, and Fernandez bagged his first win of the season in Jerez. Could he make that? The floodgates open in Portimao. Well, from victory in Jerez to despair here in Portimao for Eric Fernandez. The rider took his first victory last time out ahead of Dani Munoz in a last lap battle for the ages in Stock European Championship. Has found himself with a penalty after qualifying. And Chris, well, it's a penalty that gives him a lot of work to do from the back of the grid.
Yeah, he's been penalised for riding slowly in Q2 and has been sent to the back of the grid. We've seen it quite a bit this weekend, that the stewards aren't messing around in these things, so you break the rules, you got to serve the consequences. It will be interesting to see what he can do from the back of the grid. Obviously, his main title rival, Dani Munoz, starts from pole position. He's taken 2 wins and a 2nd place in 3 races, so it's a big ask for Eric Fernandez to try and reel him in. There's a 25-point gap between them currently in the standings, so I think it's going to be a Sunday salvage job from Fernandez.
It really is. It's such a shame we're losing him from the front row of the grid, but it's going to be really exciting watching him coming through the field and see where he can get in this Stock European Championship race later on today. So Dani Munoz, as you just said, Chris, comes into this round with a 25-point lead over Fernandez in second. And we must remember, Dani Munoz made his Stock European Championship debut at this circuit 1 year ago when it was in the middle of the Moto2 World Championship as well. So there is Dani Munoz coming round to the grid on the number 17 SP57 racing team machine, and as I said,
it's a bit of a chatter.
It really is. It really is indeed. Well, talking of chatter, he chatted away to our colleagues here, and this is what happened in qualifying yesterday.
Bueno, la verdad que ha sido una clasificación dura, ya que en el primer quali el viento tiraba para una dirección, en el segundo quali para otra y ha sido complicado gestionar eso, pero bueno, al final hemos podido hacer al mismo tiempo prácticamente los dos qualifying y llevarnos esta pole. Sí, un circuito donde es muy complicado ser constante, se cometen muchos errores a lo largo de una vuelta porque tiene muchos desniveles y depende cómo vaya el viento te molesta de una forma u otra, pero bueno, habrá que intentar ser lo más constante posible para intentar ganar mañana. Bueno, el principal rival es Eri y parece que Dino también está fuerte en este fin de semana, así que será una carrera divertida.
A pole time of 1:45, and that was a lap record around this circuit for the stock European Championship class. Danny Munoz just saying there that Eric will be his biggest rival along with Dino Iotto. Dino Iotto, who's coming off the back of a double podium in Jerez and Valencia. He will be looking to charge to the front and give Danny Munoz something to think about here today. That Dino Iotto, the Italian rider, really has been coming on strong so far at the start of this season, and he was the only other rider, apart from Eric Fernandez, that could get within 7/10 of a second of Danny Munoz in qualifying yesterday. So we might have a bit of a scrap on our hands if Dino Iotto could get in front of Danny Munoz from the get-go.
Yeah, he's in some strong form as well, the Italian. He's back-to-back P3, so he's been on the podium a couple of times. He's been bumped up to second place. He gives a little wave, a big smile to the camera. We see two podiums, both of them coming in back-to-back races at Jerez and Valencia. So he's got a lot of potential. We know a lot of the teams race Iotto. That's the standard that they try and set. So it'll be good to see if Iotto can make the step up and challenge Munoz for victory here.
Yeah, it really will be. It'll be great to see if Dino Iotto could improve on his third place, maybe a P2, but even better, a first win as well. A relatively newcomer to racing is Dino Iotto. He started racing at the grand old age of 14 years old. I started riding bikes at 14 years old and then started racing at the age of 16. So considering he's still quite young, he's not been racing for that long, has Dino Iotto. Here's Garcia, third place on the grid, and he's coming off the back of some great form. A second place, seventh and a fourth place as well. Garcia is really coming on strong in this second part, this part of the season as well.
Yeah, just 16 years old, so it's very early in his career. Early. And he's showing up very, very well here, as we said. He's got that podium, P2, back in Estoril. So let's see what he can do from the front row. While on row 2, we've got some big names there. Chiefly Alex Millan. We might see him in a moment, the number 23. And here he is, the MT Helmets rider. So let's see what he can do. He's got a good bit of experience in this category. He's got a podium already this season as well. Didn't pick anything up in Jerez, unfortunately for him, but he looked to get back on the horse today.
He will indeed. He'll be looking for some great form here today and really be kick-starting his season as well. As the crowd look on, we've still got a great crowd here ahead of the Stock European Championship race. They're just above us here in the commentary box, watching from the gantries and the pits, and they'll be watching with caution and also excitement from the grandstands as well. There's Mario Mayor, the 17-year-old from Spain. He's top 8 in every single race so far this year. So his lowest position has been in 8th place, but Mayor's really been coming on strong. And well, so far this weekend, he's been featuring towards the top of the timesheets. Top 5, top 6, so he's definitely one to be looking out for.
Yeah, another super rider. He's picked up a P4 in Estoril as well. 5th and 4th there, 5th then last time out, if I'm not mistaken, in Jerez. And yeah, he's got some potential. It's quite an open podium battle, and this is one of the guys who we expect to make a charge from a little deeper on the grid. We've seen Artie McDonald's rub shoulders in every single race. A wave to the camera, big thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. Very good stuff. Yeah, we expect him to make a charge for the podium. He's not afraid to mix it with the big guys.
He really isn't. He's ready to get stuck in as Archie McDonald. Formerly competed in the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup, and he's had 3 top 6 finishes in his best result, as you said, Chris, Valencia earlier on this year. He's been so close to the podium, so you can imagine that podium is just around the corner.
Yeah, Jacobo Hostruch now on screen. It's good to see him back. He picked up an injury in the opening round. Former NTC rider, you can see there, Estoril and Valencia were no scores, but a top 8 then last time out in Jerez, and he'll be looking to build upon that very, very encouraging performance and another encouraging qualifying session here to get himself on. Well, he qualified 7th, but as a result of the back of the grid penalty for Fernandez, he is promoted onto this head of the 3rd row.
Yeah, as you said, graduate of the Northern Talent Cup, which you cover quite extensively, Chris, so you'll know the rider very well, and he's coming up through that, and he's a very quick young kid as the rider starting 6th on the grid. So Roca in 8th spot, he's just on the cusp of top 10s in the last couple of races, but well inside the top 10 in the starting grid. He will be aiming to go a couple of places higher than what he did in Jerez. He's been in the mix quite a lot, but just unfortunate missing out on a few top 10s through no fault of his own. So Roca will be really ready to rock and roll in the Stock European Championship race here today.
Very good, mate, very good. So the horn is gone. We see the teams now leaving the grid as we look at Daniel Brooks, the British rider. So he's having a good qualifying himself. He's up inside that top 10, starting on the 3rd row in P9. He'll look for a season best result, better his P11 from Valencia. So we're getting ready to go here. We still haven't seen Eric Fernandez as of yet on the camera, on screen rather, and that is because he's starting, just a reminder, he is starting on the head of row 7 because there's a couple other of penalties handed out, mainly to Adrian Rodriguez and Jack Bednarak. So those 3 riders are on row 7 with Eric Fernandez, the championship contender, and Jerez winner, looking to charge from deep on the grid. So then, the starting grid, as we mentioned, it's Dani Munoz on pole with Dione Iotto and Garcia, Marco Garcia on the front row. Alex Mian, Mario Mayor, Archie MacDonald on the 2nd row, with Hostuch at the head of the 3rd row, Roca and Brooks joining him there 3 rows back. Pasquale Alfano, Carter Brown and Guillermo Moreno are on the 4th, with Kilian Nestola, Corey Tinker and Mateus Hulowitz on row 5. Then it's the home hero, Gonzalo Ribeiro, see what he can do in front of the home fans, joined by Arieta and Del Olmo on the 6th row. And here we are, the naughty boys from the stewards. It's Eric Fernandez, Adrian Rodriguez and Jack Bednarak, who have all been demoted to the back row for qualifying penalties.
The naughty 3 indeed at the back as Stock European Championship action gets underway for their warm-up lap with Dani Munoz leading them away once again. It's been a sight they've become very accustomed to in 2023. What can Dino Iotto do starting alongside him? Or will Dani Munoz convert his pole position into another storming win here for the final race of the day in the Algarve? There's lots to look forward to. Eric Fernandez charging through the pack. How quickly can he get to the front, and can he challenge after Dani Munoz as well when he eventually does that? Lots of things to look forward to, lots of subplots to look out for, as well as a couple of riders just take to the alternative turn number 5 that the Formula 1 cars used a couple of years ago.
So then coming through the 2nd sector, entering the 3rd, it's 31 degrees in the air, 48 on track. And then we saw the Fahrenheit for our over the sea counterparts in the US. So coming through turn 9, coming into turn 9 over the crest here, iconic of the Portimao circuit. We've got anticipation building ahead of the Stock European Championship race here from the south of Portugal in the Algarve at the Algarve International Circus.
Yeah, incredible sights all around the Autodromo International do Algarve circuit we have. And well, the Stock 600, the Stock European Championship, I should say, will be eager to impress the fans here for the final race of action in the Finetwork FIM JuniorGP World Championship. A grid that's filled with Yamahas, barring one Kawasaki that's in the grid for the rider of Javier Del Olmo, the Spanish rider in the number 61, so keep an eye out for him. The Kawasaki amongst the wrath of Yamahas here in the Stock European Championship class. As the riders roll round to the starting grid, we're going to have Dani Munoz starting on pole position from Iotto alongside.
And just a reminder, let's watch the number 4 charging from the back of the pack. Last time in Jerez, he was on the top step. Now he is going to be fighting from the back of the pack as we look at the championship standings, but I think they need to be updated as we know Eric Fernandez to be in second place with Diony Otso a little further back. So Danny Munoz rolls up to P1. Diony Otso, we'll be looking for a strong start. If he can get a strong start and kind of hold up Munoz out front over the first couple of laps, that could play perfectly into the title fight.
That's what all the neutrals are hoping for, that we get a fight at the front of this field, just like we did in Jerez 1 month ago, which was an absolute barnstormer for the final race of the day. Well, we hope for another barnstormer here today in the Algarve. In Portimao, it's an absolute great setting to finish off some racing action here on the first weekend of July. The green flag waves in the background, the red flag comes off the grid. The red lights will come on for the final time today. The revs rising in the Stock European Championship, and it's a great start from the front row from Danny Munoz as well. Dino also got it very well, and as we see Eric Fernandez in the background already making places up. He is charging through the field already, but into turn number 1 we go. It's Danny Munoz that leads the way for now, ahead of, well, he's opened up a few bikes advantage over the number 8 of Marco Garcia, chasing a podium for him. So Marco Garcia in second spot, Alex Mian in third, and Dino Otto has dropped back a couple of positions already, but it's Danny Munoz that leads the way. We will have to keep an eye on Eric Fernandez to see where he comes through sector number 1, but look at that gap. Danny Munoz has already 1 second, and we can see some movements coming from the back. That's Eric Fernandez. He's already up inside the top 10 as Fernandez. A great start there from the man is second in the World and the European Championship for now. I think that's maybe about 7th or 8th spot for the number 4 of Eric Fernandez. How many more positions can he make up as Danny Munoz scurpers away?
Yeah, an absolutely dream start for Danny Munoz as he opens up a couple of tenths, close to a second's advantage out front. But an even better start from the back of the pack from Eric Fernandez. He has immediately wasted no time at all fighting his way through here. And let's see where he will end up by the end of this first lap as we look at the chasing pack behind Munoz. Number 8, Marco Garcia.
Fernandez having a look up the inside of, I think that was Archie McDonald a little bit further back as he made it stick. Yeah, round the outside of the number 23 he goes. That's Alex Mian. Alex Mian just feeling the wrath of Eric Fernandez as he makes up another couple of positions, but off and running out the front already, coming onto the home straight as your championship leader Danny Munoz. Well, as he come across the line now, we'll see what the gap is at the head of the pack. There he is there. He's already got a gap up to around 2.7 seconds ahead of Marco Garcia, Manuel Mayor, Archie McDonald, and Eric Fernandez already in 5th spot. He's not in 5th spot anymore, he's up to 3rd. That's Fernandez from the back of the grid already into 3rd. A great start there, but I think Danny Munoz has already gone, and there we go, 2nd already, so just taking him a lap and a bit to go from last all the way up to 2nd. Great stuff there from Fernandez.
What a cracking opening lap from Eric Fernandez. A reminder, he started at the very back of the grid in P19, head of the last row, the 7th row. He's within a single lap already up into P2. The question is now, does he have the pace to match Danny Munoz, who is already rocketing away from the chasing pack?
Yeah, it's not as a neutral fan perspective, you don't really want to be seeing this Danny Munoz running away, but we now have Eric Fernandez in 2nd, so we have hope that Eric Fernandez can start reeling in the championship leader. There he is in the number 4 machine, the FAL 55 T racing machine of Eric Fernandez. A bit of a wobble there as he came over the crest of the hill, but all in order for the number 4 machine. Picked up his first victory last time out in Jerez. He's already gapped the chasing pack just behind him of Mayor, McDonald and Garcia as well by about a second already as they come through sector number 2.
Yeah, and bad news for Mario Mayor. He's got a double long lap penalty coming his way for a jump start according to our timing screens. So that's going to affect his podium charge while he sits a little bit behind. So Eric Fernandez, all eyes on the Jerez winner. Can he reel in Danny Munoz out front? There's nearly 2.8 seconds gap last time. Let's take a look at what it is when he's coming over. Munoz has extended the gap out front, so he will be banking on a mistake from Munoz if he is to catch the championship leader. He's lost, as you can see there, over half a second on the number 17 out front.
Yeah, big gap there from Danny Munoz all the way back to his championship rival Eric Fernandez. These two in a class of their own. this season in the Stock European Championship. Further back, as you just said, Mario Mayor, who was running inside the top 3 in the early stages of this race, a double long lap penalty. That's such a shame for the Spaniard, as we see on a graphic at 1:45.775, fastest lap of the race so far from Danny Munoz, who's just making this look like child's play at the front of the field. Very easy for the young Spaniard. But Eric Fernandez is now at the front or back into second and not having anyone disrupt his race. He might be able to start reeling off those fast laps. We still have hope they can start reeling in Danny Munoz to give us a battle at the front.
Yeah, I think it needs to be said again. What a stunning opening couple laps from Eric Fernandez. A reminder, he was at the back of the grid, and within the first lap he was up to third. A couple corners later he was in second, and now he has put daylight between him and Marco Garcia, Alex Millan and Mario Mayor, who are all following behind him in that battle for third position as he swings it round left here at turn 13. Can he catch Munoz?
A
little bit of a wobble. 14. Yeah, we've got the number 17 still comfortably out front. Fernandez is going to do his level best to reel him in, to not lose any more ground in the championship. But as a case of damage control, it couldn't have gone any better.
Oh, incredible stuff for damage control from Eric Fernandez. Let's just hope that those wobbles have not deterred him too much and he managed to stay on the machine. Just popping up in the graphic what Chris just said a lap ago, to serve 2 long lap penalties for Mario Mayor, which is such a shame because there he is across the screen in 5th spot, just ahead of Archie McDonald, and he was on for a cracker of a race, was Mayor, but unfortunately he will be having to serve those double long lap penalties, which will drop him well and truly out of contention. Here we go, in the middle of your screen there, third row of the grid. Yep, that was clear as day. A jump start from Mario Mayor from the 5th spot on the grid.
Yeah, just got ahead of lights out there. A bit of a disappointment for him because it's only a fraction of a second, but as you said, it's clear as day, and they are the rules. Double long lap penalty coming his way. Let's see how much that will affect him. I'd imagine it'll drop him outside the top 10 once he has completed both of them. But he does have the pace, so he can still stick a good point scoring finish. As Danny Munoz is still out front, he has opened up a bigger gap. Each lap he seems to just be putting in a faster and faster lap. Absolute quality from the championship leader.
Yeah, there's so many superlatives you could use for Danny Munoz at the moment. It's just incredible to watch out there in circuit, making it look very nice and simple, just like Senna Aegis has been doing in Moto2 this year. We can assure you that it's not easy at all, and you're having to put in a lot of effort behind the scenes and be extremely talented as well out there in circuit to make it as easy as it is from an outsider's perspective. But Danny Munoz is absolutely incredible, and he's coming around to the final corner to tick off another lap, and I have a feeling that this is going to be a lap that's going to be well and truly a few tenths of a second faster than Eric Fernandez in 2nd spot. So as he comes over the crest of the hill to tick off one more lap, there's no one else in even the same shot as him at the moment.
In the wide shot, we cannot see anyone. There is Eric Fernandez, and again, a reminder, he started at the back of the grid. But he is in a country mile of space. The gap is out to nearly 5.5 seconds. It's 5.458. Marco Garcia holding up in 3rd position for the moment. But there is a little bit of a better battle developing for that podium with Alex Millan just behind Garcia. Mario Mayor is still there, still has to serve 2 long lap penalties, mind. Well, Eric Fernandez, here we go. Well, actually, it's Marco Garcia. We see Eric Fernandez passing through just before this trio of riders.
Yeah. A rider that's had a disastrous start to this race was Dino Iotto from 2nd place on the grid. He dropped all the way down to 8th spot in the opening few laps, but he's worked his way back up to 6th as well. So his 3rd spot on the podium, or his third podium on the bounce, is under threat from coming to an end if he can't make up any more positions. But he's a few seconds behind Marco Garcia in 3rd and Alex Millan in 4th spot as well. Brit Watch a little bit further back. It's not been the best of starts for the Brits, as Daniel Brooks from 9th on the grid has dropped away down to 12th. Carter Brown with the CF Motorsport squad, he's dropped from 11th all the way down to 15th, just ahead of the Easy Race team, Corey Tinker, and also Jack Bednarek from the back row of the grid. He's still in 19th spot as well. So they've had a bit of a disastrous start to the race, but we know the pace is there, and all 4 of the Brits can work their way further up the field.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a learning curve as well for a lot of these riders. Talking to some of the teams, they know where they stand within this group, as we see here. The first of the long lap penalties from Mario Mayor to be served, and it looks like he's going to nail it perfectly. Very well done. Didn't touch the green. He's back out and has dropped in just ahead of Dino Iotto and right behind the number 40. 4 of Adrian Rodriguez, who is also starting on the back of the grid. He's managed to fight his way up into the top 8.
If it wasn't for Eric Fernandez, we'd be waxing lyrical about Adrian Rodriguez coming from the back row of the grid. On the red, we've been seeing that quite a lot this weekend, but that's Dino Iozzo on the red, trying to get past the Mayor for 7th and 8th positions respectively. A little bit further behind, that's the number 3 and the number 21 of Pascal Alfano and Daniel Brooks. So that's a battle for 12th and 11th spot, but no such problems for Danny Munoz out front with 10 and a 3/4 laps to go. He's absolutely in command and just taking about 7 or 8 tenths of a second, give or take, every single lap from Eric Fernandez as well.
Yeah, he's just clocking off fast lap after fast lap. An absolutely thoroughly professional job. He knew Eric Fernandez was going to be at the back of the grid, but he's putting in a performance as well, one of his best of the season so far, to ensure that he's in control of this race. He didn't know Eric Fernandez was going to be in 2nd place. He probably knows he has quite a comfortable advantage, but yeah, he looks like he is set for another win and will be back on the top step, even with 11 laps to go.
Yeah, Poetry in Motion coming through. Some of these fast left corners, the rear wheel just spinning ever so slightly, stepping out, but Danny Munoz has it well and truly in control for the time being. Further back in the pack, as we've talked about, Eric Fernandez in 2nd. He's chasing down Danny Munoz, but however, Danny Munoz is just opening up the gap. Marco Garcia still holds 3rd. He is about 1.5 seconds just ahead of Alex Millan in 4th. And then Archie McDonald, he's on for another top 5 and 5th spot for the moment. He's got Adrian Rodriguez, Mario Mayor and Dino Iozzo for company just behind him.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Archie McDonald. Has a little bit of a ways to go to try and catch Alex Millan. Adrian Rodriguez is swarming all over the Aussies' rear tail as well. And just as I say that, we can see Rodriguez has actually gotten ahead of the number 69, Archie McDonald. Dino Iozzo is there. Mario Mayor has dropped down to 9th at the expense, with Jacopo Hostrich benefiting, while at the moment Pascal Alfano rounds out the top 10. Up front though, it is just absolute exhibition from Danny Munoz, who's putting in another fast lap to ensure that he is keeping Eric Fernandez at arm's length. Here we see Marco Garcia running the number 8 across the front of his Yamaha machine. He is a comfortable 3rd, but he does have Alex Millan for company just a little bit behind them, so he can't afford to relax just yet.
Yeah, Alex Millan on great form this weekend, also looking for another podium. He took a podium back in Estoril in race number 1, a 3rd place there, so he'll be hoping to back that up with another race win, another podium in Portugal here this weekend. Another rider that seems to find his best here in the Portuguese sun as well, so another rider probably will be wanting every single race of the season to be ran here in Portugal so he can rack up as many podiums as he wishes. Further back, that's Adrian Rodriguez coming from the back of the grid. A great ride for him, just ahead of Archie McDonald. He managed to slip past the Australian 1 lap ago, and just behind Archie McDonald is Dino Iozzo, coming from, well, a lowly position after starting from 2nd on the grid. Mario Mayor has served the 2nd of his double long lap penalties. That's why he's dropped away from that group in the battle for 5th spot. He's now down in 9th place, so he's a couple of seconds off the battle for 5th, with Rodriguez, McDonald, Iozzo and Hostwijk. Mayor's now 9th, and then Alfano is still ahead of Daniel Brooks, but he's managed to get ahead of Roca, so he rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, Munoz just pushing it a little bit wide there. No need for him to take such risks with such a comfortable advantage. An 8-second lead over his closest competitor, who started at the back of the grid, Eric Fernandez. Here we go. You'll just see he runs it a little bit tight. And we have the slow-mo now coming into turn 1 of Eric Fernandez, who is having, he may be a few seconds behind, but he's having a sensational ride, as we have a little comparison between the 2 top men in this championship.
And here comes Garcia as well, so we could just get another little riding style comparison from the top 3. Garcia pushing on as well. He's got a great little riding style, does the 16-year-old of Garcia as well. Another rider we can keep an eye out on, another name that we should get used to, because we can imagine that Marco Garcia will be another name for the future. As we said, only 16 years of age, a very young rider in this class, and he'll be soaking up all the experience he can get from the likes of Danny Munoz and Eric Fernandez just ahead of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, such a young rider at 16, but he's already put in a string of impressive performances across the 2023 campaign. He looks set to be on for another podium here, which would be his second of the year after Estoril, but while in Jerez he just missed out as well. But yeah, he's been very impressive, and it looks like he is one for the future in this class. One for now and the future, may I say.
Yeah, indeed he is. The Stock European Championship is... it's good they have him in this class. He'll be a little star of the future once Danny Munoz and Eric Fernandez potentially move on to other things. Marco Garcia will be taking over from that, and he might find himself moving on to bigger and greater things in the coming years to come as well. But he's hoping for bigger and greater things here today, but he may have that taken away from him by Alex Mian, who's now all over the back of the Easy Race Team rider. The 50 Motorsport rider of Alex Mian on the number 23 is climbing all over the back. Both these riders have already had a podium so far this year. They both want a second one to take the trophy back to their cabinet, as Garcia looks over his shoulder and sees that Alex Mian is climbing all over the back of him now. And just a few seconds further back, you now have Archie McDonald once again ahead of Adrian Rodriguez, with Dino Iosu for close company in the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th. Jacobo Hoschweg is still in 8th. Mario Mayor has not quite made any improvements on his position after coming through the long lap penalty loop. Maximiliano Roca still inside the top 10. Marcelo Moreno, the Mexican rider, he's in 12th spot ahead of Daniel Brooks, who's dropped another couple of positions. Corey Tinker's found himself in the points now. He's come up from 16th and passing Kilian Nestola and Carter Brown. Carter Brown just missing out on some points at the moment in 16th spot there, but he's got the pace, and we think he's climbing all over the back of Kilian Nestola, so he'll be well and truly in the mix to try and claim his first points of the year.
Yeah, there are battles forming all over the track now as the race begins to reach a crescendo. 8 laps, just over 8 laps remaining as Danny Munoz is about to take off yet another one. 7 laps to go with Munoz, a few of the trailing riders here. But let's just keep an eye on the times of Alex Mian and Marco Garcia. Garcia had half a tenth taken out of him by Mian on that last lap. So it will be interesting to see if Mian does have the pace, the consistent pace to trouble. Well, just as we said, we missed it on the live, but Alex Mian has taken 3rd place. We've given the commentator's curse to Marco Garcia, saying he's been on an excellent run of form, but so has Alex Mian, and now Garcia has a fight on his hands for 3rd place. Will Mian continue his pace and open up a gap, or what does Garcia have in his back pocket?
Well, Garcia might have some trouble further behind, because Archie McDonald and Adrian Rodriguez on that last lap were about 0.7 of a second quicker than Marco Garcia, and you can see they're just slowly bridging that gap to the battle for 3rd, and even so they were still a couple of tenths quicker than Alex Mian, who's now just found himself at the front of this battle for 3rd and 4th. So we'll keep an eye on that. Archie McDonald on the number 69 machine and Adrian Rodriguez also coming from the back of the grid are not out of this just yet.
Yeah, coming around now, the crest, the iconic Portimao crest. Will Garcia find any drive out of the left-hander here to give him a drive into the turn 10? Not quite, he won't get quite close enough as Mian pulls a tight line, and a little bit later from Garcia on the braking, but he won't. Yeah, Mian is opening up a gap here, so there might be trouble coming for Garcia. He may not have to look ahead, he might have to look behind him at what's coming over the shoulder. Archie McDonald coming well. Adrian Rodriguez, who started at the back of the grid also, he's coming on strong. So let's just watch out. There's legs in this battle, yes.
Yeah, 6 laps remaining as Danny Munoz clicks another lap off the counter at the head of the field. He is now almost, I say almost, I think he's just gone over. Yes, he has done 10.9 seconds ahead of Eric Fernandez. That last lap, he was 1.1 seconds faster than his championship rival, with Alex Mian actually lapping a little bit faster that time round than Marco Garcia and Archie McDonald, but you can still see Archie McDonald coming under a bit of pressure now from Adrian Rodriguez. So Archie McDonald is trying to close in this gap on Roberto Garcia, but he's also getting attacked from behind as well, which will not be playing into the Australians. He's gone a little bit wide, has Archie McDonald there. He has gone very wide.
He's opened the door for Adrian Rodriguez, but he can't take advantage of that. Rodriguez coming on the tighter line. McDonald must have opted for the wider arc to get a stronger drive out, and he still holds on to the 5th place.
Yeah, Archie McDonald, this is a superb ride from the Australian rider. Top 5 on the cards if he stays ahead of Rodriguez, but it looks like with that little mistake, the impression that he was putting on, the pressure that he was putting on Marco Garcia and Alex Millan in front of him has just come to a little bit of a standstill for now as he tries to regain the momentum he has lost at turn number 3 after running a little bit wide and coming under a bit of pressure from Adrian Rodriguez. That mistake has now allowed Dino Iozzo and Mario Mayor, who's served both of his long lap penalties, to come into the picture now. So there we are. That's Dino Iozzo and Mayor, 7th and 8th, who have just closed in a little bit on McDonald and Rodriguez, as those pair are starting to claim or starting to close in on Alex Millan and Garcia.
Yeah, there is legs in this battle yet. Well, let's see if these guys just have the pace to catch the guys ahead of them in that battle for 5th. Archie McDonald, Adrian Rodriguez, while Alex Millan looks to have opened up a bit of a gap on Marco Garcia, which is very disappointing for Garcia, the Easy Race team rider aboard that Yamaha. He was cruising and looking good in 3rd place, but Alex Millan has just found a little bit of extra speed in his back pocket. The number 23 there we can see. And Garcia just behind him, 2 tenths behind him, coming over the line that time, with Archie McDonald leading Rodriguez by a few tenths more, 4 tenths in total.
Yeah, on that last lap, just watching the sector times, the last lap times. On that last lap, he did have Archie McDonald a little bit quicker than Garcia, despite that mistake at turn number 3. And he's now opened up that gap over Rodriguez. And you can see now that he's really starting to close in that gap on the 2 riders just in front of him, as Mayor is putting some pressure on Dino Iozzo for 7th and 8th, just at the back of the screen there. So Mayor may have just taken advantage of Dino Iozzo to move up to 7th, which is a classy little ride by Mario Mayor, despite a double long lap penalty for the jump start at the start of this race. But Millan, we thought was about to start gapping Garcia. It's the other way around. Garcia started to close back in on Millan in the last lap in a bit, and Archie McDonald's closing in on the pair of them. So this is definitely going to be a battle for the podium, and McDonald is dragging Rodriguez along with him. So Archie McDonald sees a first podium in the Stock European Championship in his sights, and he'll be aiming for that. He'll be giving it everything with just over 4 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is going to go to the wire. Not so much out front. Danny Munoz yet adds a few more seconds to his advantage as he crosses the line. He's already through turn 1 as his closest challenger, Eric Fernandez, then comes across the line. Here we look at him now, the number 4, 12.280 seconds behind the championship leader. And it looks like he will lose a little bit of ground in the championship chase. Only 5 points. It could have been worse, all things considered.
Garcia,
and here comes Garcia, late on the brakes in turn 1. Makes it stick. What has Millan got in response? Nothing, it would seem, at the opening corner. He will fancy his chances maybe at turn 3 if he can get a little bit closer. Coming out of turn 2, he drives a little bit late. It looks like Garcia has made this one stick.
And Archie McDonald is now on this battle for 3rd. He's all over the back of Millan. That was a great little move by Garcia into turn number 1 there. We thought he was out of action with Alex Millan, but he's managed to reel him back in, and the 16-year-old on the number 8 machine is back into 3rd spot, and he's already putting some space between himself and Alex Millan. So Millan has now got some problems with Archie McDonald behind him now. What can Archie McDonald do about Millan? I'll get my teeth put back in eventually. But he's got to run over the crest of the hill, dropping down to Craig Jones' corner. Will he get the run through Craig Jones' corner and set him up for a late break overtaking manoeuvre into turn number 11? No, he won't. The door has been slammed shut by Millan into turn number 11 there. But Archie McDonald, he's now got the pace, and we've also seen Mayor and Dino Iozzo climbing all over the back of Rodriguez now. So Rodriguez has lost the steam from this battle as well, as Archie McDonald is now finding the form, sweeping it out wide. Will he get the cut back into turn number 40? He's done it. Wow, that's an incredible move there. Will he go wide?
He's managed to keep it pinned as well, has he? Well, that's an incredible move.
Absolutely brilliant from Archie McDonald. He's now up to 4th spot. He sees a first podium of the season, the first podium in the Stock European Championship class beckons for the Australian of Archie McDonald if he can get onto the back of Marco Garcia. 3 laps to go, and this is not done and dusted just yet. Here comes Millan as well, back on Archie McDonald. He's got the run, he's got the slipstream late on the brakes, he's done it, but is Archie McDonald going to round the outside? He has done, late on the brakes, and Archie McDonald consolidates his P4 for the moment.
Yeah, Archie McDonald is putting on a late show here as Marco. This is working into Marco Garcia's favour as well, as he he looks to seal a second podium of the campaign, but Archie McDonald is chasing him. You can see there's been a little bit of time put between them on the last lap. McDonald had a faster lap by over half a second, 0.6 of a second to be exact, but Mian is not letting him get away, and McDonald does not want to let Garcia get away. A little bit further back then, Adrian Rodriguez and Mario Mayor and Dino Iozzo are all locked in battle for 6th and 7th place.
Something's happened to Kilian Nastola on that previous lap. He's dropped all the way down to 20th spot, so not sure what happened to the number 86 rider as we watch a replay. How late on the brakes can you get from Archie McDonald? That was absolutely sensational by the Australian rider, just swooping around the outside when it looked like Mian had it all covered on the brakes on the inside.
Flying on track.
Incredible stuff. As Danny Munoz, we were almost forgot about him for a second. He comes over the line to clock off another lap. The penultimate lap of the race begins now with Danny Munoz over the line, and he starts what is going to be one of the most dominant victories of his career so far, as Eric Fernandez isn't even on the home straight yet as he comes across the line just behind Danny Munoz. Here he comes now, and Eric Fernandez is 14.1 seconds back off your race and championship leader. Quickly to go back to Kilian Nastola, him departing outside the top 15 has promoted Carter Brown into the top 15, so that'll be a first point of the season for Carter Brown if he can hold on to that. But a first podium of the year is coming the way potentially of Archie McDonald. Just between the podium and him is Garcia, and Garcia will do everything in his power to claim a second podium of the year, but Archie McDonald has the pace. He's going to put the attack all over Marco Garcia with a lap and a bit to go.
Yeah, put in the fastest lap of the race, of the race, my apologies, but he was the fastest man on circuit in that last lap. Archie McDonald,
he's having a look up the inside there.
1:47.133. He's got a lap and a half now, just over a lap and a half to make his move on Marco Garcia. He's going to be watching and judging everything Garcia is doing in this final sector. There's a couple overtaking opportunities, chiefly at turn 13. He could potentially do it at the final corner, but that would be, frankly, a ridiculous move if he were to pull it off. But he's coming down over the hill, still in 4th place. He's going to make his move. It could be at turn 1.
And Mario Mayor is putting Alex Mian under pressure for 5th spot as well. So this is all kicking off now in the last moments of this race. And Mayor going for the inside. Is he going to make it 6th? No, he's not. It was Mian. It's far too wise to that and swoops around the outside, but he's going for the inside now. Is Mayor? No, he hasn't made it stick. This is a great showing from the number 82, but here comes McDonald. McDonald up the outside. Can he do what he did to Mian a couple of laps ago? No, he can't. Garcia was far too wise to that. He's trying to get the run. There's only going to be one last lap. Well, Danny Munoz is so far ahead. He's already started the last lap, and so is Eric Fernandez. Those two are long and gone in 1st and 2nd, but the final place on the podium is not over and done with just yet. Rolling across the line, kicking up to top gear. Here comes Archie McDonald in the slipstream. Garcia doesn't know which way he's going to go. On the brakes, can Archie McDonald do it? Later on the brakes, no, Garcia's even later. Swoops right in the outside, incredible stuff there, but he runs a little bit deep. What can McDonald do into turn number 3? Is the next place he can try it. He won't be close enough, and Garcia blocks the line perfectly.
Oh, he's having a little look up the inside here, but Garcia is defending quite well here. Alex Mian is lurking just behind here, ready for any mistake. Archie McDonald
got the run, and Garcia looked over his shoulder. Is he
going to try something up the inside here? Alex Mian might, and he does. He blocks out. Will he take the position off Archie McDonald? He has a little wobble, but Archie McDonald takes it back. He pushed him wide, and that just might play brilliantly into Marco Garcia's hands as he has opened up a little gap. He might have one last opportunity to this. We're looking at turn 13. That might be Archie McDonald's best chance to take a podium here.
Only a few more corners to go, a handful of corners, but there won't be a handful of corners for this man, Danny Munoz. He rounds the penultimate corner into the last one for the last time here today in the Stock European Championship. It's been a masterclass for Munoz, a dominant display as he racks up another win in 2023. Danny Munoz is your race winner as he celebrates as the checkered flags wave. That was total domination. Yeah. Further back, Eric Fernandez as well. He'll be coming across the line in 2nd, but we look back for the battle for 3rd. Who is it going to be? McDonald, Garcia, or Mian?
Eric Fernandez crossing the line now. Absolute brilliant job in damage control. Starting at the back of the grid, he picks up 20 points. Let's look here. Final corner. Who's got it? Marco Garcia has it, but Archie McDonald might have the run to the line.
He's
running out of space. It's going to be Marco Garcia who takes third place. Archie McDonald, head in hand. He saw the opportunity. He knew it was there, but he just couldn't quite find the move on Marco Garcia, who we have to give plenty of plaudits to for defending that brilliantly on the last lap.
Absolutely great stuff there by Marco Garcia. A great ride there from the young 16-year-old to pick up his second podium of the year, but nobody could lay a glove, even get close to Danny Munoz this weekend. Even throughout this entire season, Danny Munoz has been a class above the rest. Only Eric Fernandez can get close to the championship leader, but today he was a class below because every single lap, Danny Munoz was 1 second quicker, lap on lap, over Eric Fernandez, who we must remind you put in a brilliant performance to come from last on the grid, from the back of the grid, and work his way up to second at the start of lap number 2. Carved his way through the field like a hot knife through butter, and Marco Garcia soaked up the pressure, soaked up everything that Archie McDonald threw at him, and cool and calculated and calm as well, held on to record what was a sensational third place finish. Just outside the podium was Archie McDonald ahead of Alex Millan. Mario Mayor coming from a double long lap penalty in second ahead of Dino Iotto, who'll be a little bit disappointed with today after starting second on the grid. He comes home in 7th ahead of Adidan Rodriguez. He dropped back in the last couple of laps ahead of Jacobo Hoschwijk, and 9th ahead of Maximilio Rocca in 10th. Pascal Alfano was in 11th. Daniel Brooks recovers some points for 12th. And Carter Brown picks up his first points of the season, nabbing 13th place in the last couple of laps for the CF Motorsport team. All the guys and girls in the CF Motorsport team will be overjoyed with that one. They put in a lot of work to get both him and Jack Bednarek here for the Stock European Championship. So they've been rewarded with a great points finish from Carter Brown. Carter Tinker in 14th ahead of Guillermo Marcel Moreno, rounding out your points finishers in 15th. But as Danny Munoz rolls into Parc Ferme, he's congratulated by his team as well, and what a performance it was. The most dominant performance of the season by Danny Munoz. You've got to wonder, who can stop him? Can Eric Fernandez, as we saw in Jerez, put a stop to the steam train that is Danny Munoz and his quest for the Stock European Championship in 2023? He was a little bit handicapped this weekend, was Fernandez. After qualifying second yesterday, he was demoted to the back of the grid for riding too slowly, and Marco Garcia was in 8th spot. So he will be over the moon to hold off a pressure cooker of a race from not just Archie McDonald, but also Alex Millan, and towards the end, Mario Mayor was putting in some fast laps to get himself inside the top 6 as well. There he is. Marco Garcia finally rolls into Parc Ferme after a whole wrath of celebrations on the cool-down lap for the young Spaniard, only 16 years of age. Incredible that he's already racked up a second podium of the year. As we were saying during the race, he is definitely one to watch out for in the future on the 600 machines, as is Danny Munoz, who really has reignited his career this season with what has been just a sensational performance. As the pictures come rolling in, as a number 1, he's getting very, very used to, isn't it, Danny Munoz? Alongside him, Eric Fernandez. Yeah, nothing more he could do today. He was, a little bit of consolidation for Eric Fernandez, but from the back of the grid, he couldn't have hoped for much more than to finish second, and, well, a very comfortable second at the end, 11.7 seconds ahead of the battle for third with Marco Garcia, Archie McDonald, and Alex Millan as well. Well, that was a great way to end our action here in the Algarve International Circuit. We will be hearing from your race winner in just a few moments, when he will be chatting with our very own Chris Jordan, as he waits patiently down there to chat to our Stock European Championship race winner. But this is the start, and right from the off, Danny Munoz had a clear advantage all the way down to turn number 1. Never put a foot wrong the entire race. Was in commanding form as he popped a little wheelie coming over the crest of the hill, as he was greeted with the checkered flag. and sits back and just thinks, wow, that one was one for the ages. One for the history books in the Stock European Championship, because he absolutely mastered the class of the Stock European Championship here today. Absolutely incredible performance from Dani Munoz indeed. So I believe we'll be chatting to Chris Jordan in a few moments' time. It looks like he's just got himself into position. There he is, Dani Munoz, a race winner for the 3rd time this year in the Stock European Championship, and he's chatting to Chris.
Thanks, Liam. Yeah, it was a Munoz masterclass. Daniel, how are you feeling? It was a brilliant, brilliant performance out there.
The race was incredible. I practiced my pace all the weekend for this moment, for the race. Yeah, I'm very happy for the race, for the result, because the race was difficult. For the hot, the track was very hot and slide too much. But I'm very happy. Thank you for the team, Jorge Arroyo, my family, all support me.
Ahora en castellano, por favor.
Ha sido una carrera difícil por el calor y la pista era complicada de gestionar, ya que deslizaba bastante, pero la verdad estoy muy contento con el ritmo, que lo hemos estado practicando desde el principio del fin de semana y ha surgido su fruto. Así que muy contento con el resultado, agradecer al equipo, Jorge Arroyo y toda la familia que ha venido a verme.
Muchas gracias y felicidades.
So the final race action of the day got underway as the red lights out went out for 16 laps of Stock European Championship action, with Dani Munoz on pole position ahead of Dino Iotto. But it would be Dani Munoz that would lead the way into turn number 1 as Dino Iotto dropped a little bit further down the field. Eric Fernandez, starting from the back of the grid, already carving his way through the field, as you can see, into turn number 1. He was already inside the top 10 as they were halfway through the lap there. The number 4 rider making moves up the inside of a lot of the riders into turn at number 5, and by the end of the lap, he was already up into 3rd spot. Dani Munoz clicked up the gears and clicked off another lap as Fernandez rolled into 3rd and then would immediately take 2nd off of Marco Garcia. And commanding performance in 2nd place was Fernandez, only slowly moving towards Dani Munoz, but it would be Dani Munoz that would start eking out the advantage over Fernandez throughout the entirety of the race, as Mayor took his double long lap penalty and before eventually coming back to finish 6th in the race. The battle for the final podium position heated up. Millan led the way ahead of Garcia, but Archie McDonald would start putting the pressure on both of them in the final stages of the race. Garcia retook 3rd spot ahead of Millan. Millan would eventually drop all the way down to 5th spot, just behind Archie McDonald. With this incredible overtake from the Australian into the penultimate corner, proper block pass on Garcia, but Millan would fight back once again into turn number 1, but sweeping around the outside, Archie McDonald would hold on for 4th for now. He put the pressure on Garcia in the last couple of laps, not being able to find a way through, but it was Dani Munoz, a masterclass from Munoz, perfect in Portimao. He took his 3rd victory of the season, 3 from 4, as he crossed the line at 17.2 seconds ahead of his nearest challenger and championship rival, Eric Fernandez. As the team celebrated once more, Eric Fernandez crossed the line 2nd, but it was Garcia that would just hold off Archie McDonald by 0.07 of a second. Dani Munoz rolled into Parc Fermé, was celebrated with his team, and who can stop the steam train of Dani Munoz in 2023?
An absolutely superb ride from the championship leader, Dani Munoz. He'll take top step glory, but there are celebrations all round on an all-Spanish podium with Eric Fernandez and Marco Garcia to come. Here's Marco Garcia then, plenty of cheers down in pit lane, and from the stands, a popular podium finisher. From the back of the grid to the podium, Eric Fernandez picks up yet another P2 result here, and crucially 20 championship points. But at the top of it all, it is Dani Munoz, 25 championship points, Portimao Stock European Championship race winner, and a big, big race coming up in Catalonia quite soon.
So the FIM JuniorGP steward hands over the trophy to your team that's just won in the hands of Dani Munoz. Big congratulations for them as he congratulates his rider as well, almost giving the third place trophy to Eric Fernandez. But Garcia is the one that eventually receives it, and a big win that, or a big third place that was from Garcia. First vice president of the FMP hands over the second place trophy, a very hard fought second place trophy after coming from the back of the grid for Eric Fernandez. But barely breaking a sweat all day was Dani Munoz as he takes another victory and the third of the season here in Portimao.
E vamos ouvir o hino espanhol para a vitória de Daniel Munoz.
Beaming from ear to ear with a delightful smile. Delightful David Munoz as well. So Daniel Munoz is your race winner here in Portimao. His third victory of the year from 4. Eric Fernandez standing to his right was the other race winner back in Jerez. What can Eric Fernandez do about Dani Munoz in Montmelo in just 2 weeks' time?
So then, your race results from the Stock European Championship here in Portimao. Dani Munoz is a comfortable winner ahead of Eric Fernandez and Marco Garcia on the podium. Archie McDonald just misses out on that maiden podium with Alex Millan right behind him in 5th. Mario Mayor, Dino Iozzo, Adrian Rodriguez then ring it in, with Jacobo Hostruch a little further back in 9th place. Completing the top 10 is Maximiliano Rocca, just ahead of Pasquale Alfano, less than a tenth in that. And then triple points for the Brits. Daniel Brooks, Carter Brown, Corey Tinker all inside the top 15. Guillermo Marcel Moreno completing the point scores here in Portimao. Mateus Hulowitz, Javi Del Olmo, Ariete, Nestola complete the finishers, with Bednarak and Ribeiro entering into pits before the race was over.
So with another Dani Munoz victory here today, this is how the championship looks. He is 30 points ahead of Eric Fernandez in 2nd spot. Marco Garcia, after his 3rd place, he moves up into 3rd ahead of Archie McDonald and Mario Mayor. Dino Iozzo, after a tough day in the office for him, he drops down to 6th ahead of Alex Millan in 7th, Adrian Rodriguez in 8th, and Corey Tinker, who had a tough day at the office as well, in 9th spot. Maximiliano Rocca on 22 points and rounds out the top 10 ahead of Guillermo Marcel Moreno in 11th ahead of Jacopo Hostruch in 12th. Then Daniel Brooks next up in 13th, Kilian Nestola in 14th, and rounding out the top 15 is Gonçalo Ribeiro. In 16th is Rivera, and then further back we have Alfano, Bednarek, Javier Del Olmo, and Carter Brown with his first points of the season in 3rd and 21st spot there. Hulowitz rounds out the runners and riders in the points in 23rd on 2 points. And that's all she wrote for the Stock European Championship and the Algarve here in 2023. 6 races of amazing action, finished off by a Dani Munoz domination here in Portimao. The Finetwork FIM JuniorGP World Championship will be back in action in just 2 weeks' time at Montmelo. And can anyone stop Angel Piqueras and JuniorGP?